Se vende humo, el podcast de actualidad, tendencias y negocio alrededor de las ventas que te acerca a este mundo como nunca antes lo habías conocido. Y arrancamos un nuevo episodio de Se vende humo, en el que damos por iniciado este formato de entrevistas, donde voy a estar hablando tanto con vendedores como no vendedores sobre temas personales, profesionales y cómo las ventas pueden verse reflejadas en su día a día. En esta primera entrevista me he decantado por un no vendedor. Tengo la suerte de poder entrevistar a un SWAT Officer de las Fuerzas Armadas Especiales en Estados Unidos. En este caso, él está ubicado en la ciudad de Chicago. Y vamos a ver qué cositas salen, porque creo que puede salir una entrevista muy interesante y diferente. Y empezamos con la primera entrevista de este podcast, de Se vende humo, con un invitado muy especial, no solamente porque lo conozco muy de cerca, sino porque es la persona más valiente que ha aceptado ser el primer entrevistado, esta invitación al podcast. Estoy con Sergio Aponte. Muchas gracias por asistir a este podcast.
Thank you very much for the introduction. I'm happy to be here.
Y como podéis imaginar, la entrevista va a ser alrededor de la profesión de Sergio. Es un SWAT Officer ubicado en Chicago, por lo tanto vamos a cambiar al inglés para que la entrevista sea mucho más fluida. Así que vamos a empezar con una primera pregunta para romper el hielo. Sergio, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Pues allá vamos. So to get started with a breaking the ice question, as you may know, due to the Hollywood action movies, the SWAT brand has gained a worldwide marketing awareness, at least from my point of view. So my first question to you, Sergio, is what's the first reaction that you get when you share that you work as a SWAT officer?
I would say the reaction is surprised, not overly shocked or anything, but the profession is relatively very small, so people are surprised, as well as when people imagine a SWAT officer, they imagine somebody 6'2" 6'4" body build, bodybuilder type body, and I'm 5'6", I'm 155 pounds, so I can see that could also be pretty surprising.
That it is for sure, at least. I got impressed about how you made it to the SWAT because the standards are, as you mentioned, like quite strict, and it's something funny. Thank you for sharing. And my question is like, what's the biggest difference between what people might think about your role and what's the reality, which is like the expectation versus the reality?
Well, I would say the expectation people have, or what they may perceive it to be at first, is it's like a very action hero running and gunning, quote unquote, and it's always go nonstop, just like the movies, like the show SWAT, right? Set
Indeed.
in Los Angeles. The reality, actually, though, is it can be, very high and fast paced, and you have to train for that. But that's a very small amount of the time. A lot of the time, it's patience, it's listening, it's training, and it's preparing for those small, very high paced moments. But it's not like that every single day.
So the adrenaline is there, but it's not 24/7 adrenaline. Let's call it that way.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like the adrenaline, you don't know when it's going to come. You're just waiting for it, preparing for it. But it could be at any moment. So you have to be ready at all times. But you're not 24/7, on level 100.
Got it. Awesome. So let's turn to the next question. And as you know, this is a sales related podcast. We're trying to opening sales to anyone, like either of you are involved with sales or you're not. And you're the first person in this interview chat. You're not a seller yourself. So people might be asked, have you brought a non-related salesperson? But I think that you have a quite unique role, a quite unique profession. And I'm very curious about how you made it. Like, tell us a little bit more about your career in the Chicago SWAT and how you became part of this unit. Like, which was the path? How did you made it to become a SWAT officer?
Yeah. So, I mean, So I started off, I applied to the Chicago Police Department when I was 18 years old. I made it into the police academy when I was 22 years old. For SWAT, you have to be a police officer for a total of 30 years, starting your first day in the academy till 3 years later. And then you're eligible to apply for SWAT. I applied for SWAT when I had just under 5 years on the job. Um, you apply, you have to do a firearms test, which is pistol shooting. You have to do a physical fitness test. You have to do an obstacle course. And then if you pass those, you begin a 3-week selection process. It's experienced SWAT officers running the selection. It's a mixture of academics, tactics very heavily, physical fitness, and marksmanship. If you pass those 3 weeks, you then begin a 90-day SWAT school where they train you more intricately in the profession of being a SWAT officer. And you have to meet the standard while you're going through that school. And that's how you get started, basically.
Sounds like a super tough process.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was one of the more difficult things I've done before. It's very rewarding, and at the end, you feel very grateful that you've been selected.
So, hearing how demanding this recruiting process is, how does competition take place into it?
The competition is it's heavy competition, but it's kind of a funny dynamic where it's very competitive because you want to get selected. You're doing your absolute best, and you want to perform your absolute best. But at the same time, you have to be a team player, even through selection. And if you're not a team player through selection, just being the best by itself isn't going to be enough. I believe that the SWAT officers running the selection process, they're looking for not only somebody that performs at their peak, but also somebody that is trustworthy and somebody that can be a team player.
Beautiful. So, connected to sales, one of my favorite sales books is one that's called Never Split the Difference. And the author of this book is an FBI officer named Chris Voss. Along the book, he mentions like different situations, like extreme situations, where he has been negotiating tactics in order to influence, in order to persuade, in order to make it to convince the side on the other table. My question is like in your work, how have you experienced the importance of sales in terms of persuasion, negotiation, whether in critical situations or in day-to-day activities?
Okay, to start, I feel the word sales is close to, I guess, in some aspects, the word convincing um, or persuading. So I'd say that we use that in critical incidents where, if somebody's armed with a weapon or somebody's threatening themselves or others, I say that we sell or convince them um, that, like, surrendering peacefully is a more positive outcome for everyone. Right? At the end of the day, that's our goal, that everyone's safe, including them, us, and everyone around. We're trying to convince them and sell to them the real reality, the real product, that doing something erratic is not the way to go. It's something they should not do. And we're trying to convince them that we're there to help them, right?
I see.
So, in a way, you can say that might be selling, which I think it's like convincing. We're trying to get them to surrender peacefully because at the end of the day, that's what we're there to do. That's our job. We're trying to make sure that it's a positive outcome where nobody's hurt, you know?
Understand. That's very interesting because my next question is related to your sales background.
Mhm.
Like I know that as you mentioned, since you were 18, you broke into the police department. You have been growing your career within that. But did you get any previous experience within sales?
Yeah, I did. So I'll say one of my jobs I had before was from 19 to 21 years of age. I worked at Menards actually.
Really?
Yeah, Menards. For someone that's not familiar, maybe they're more familiar with the competition, which would be like Home Depot
That's
or Lowe's.
do-it-yourself retailer, right?
Yeah, so you do it yourself retailer, contractor sales, and stuff like that for home repairs and home improvements. So I worked in the plumbing department for
Oh,
almost 2 years. I did this while I was getting my associate's degree. So I would work Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and go to school usually Monday through Thursdays for 2 years. And so during that experience, I'd have my managers or supervisors saying, "Hey, I see somebody looking at um, the toilets or the water heaters. Like, go see if you could assist them in selling them this water heater. Go or this. We had the grills in our case in our department, a grill, right, or a toilet. And so I did get some good early experience at a young age, just communicating with people and telling them the benefits of the products that we had, and seeing if we can find them the best one.
mm-hmm.
You know.
That's awesome. There's always, like a root behind that. So my next question is related to negotiation under pressure. Like I think that even if it's not 24/7, you might be exposed to a lot of pressure in your daily work, at least way more pressure than I might be exposed in an administrative job. So my main question is like, how do you handle negotiation and decision making under pressure? Like, and how does this relate to sales skills?
So handling negotiation and decision making under pressure. I'll differentiate really quickly. We have negotiators
Mm-hmm.
that's their professional duty is negotiating,
All right.
and then the SWAT operators, we work very close with them,
Okay.
right? But sometimes you are in a position where you're the one speaking, you're the one negotiating, you're the one doing that directly. So I would say training is essential. Knowing the difference of when direct action is needed versus knowing when it's more wise and more called for to be patient and keeping a distance, where that the situation calls for maybe not something so direct.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that difference comes through training. You know, um, we also have general orders, which is a long list of basically a code of conduct of how we will conduct ourselves,
All right.
right? So, in that code of conduct, we have sanctity of human life, which
Mhm.
is the number one priority for all police officers, SWAT officers, patrol officers, and the like, which means that we hold life in the highest regard. Our number one, um, our number one priority is making sure that we're protecting that life. We have another order that says, use time, distance, and shielding. We have critical incident training for de-escalating situations pertaining to mental health crisis.
I see.
So I'd say the training as well as the guidance that we get from our general orders is something that does help us very much so when we're in a super stressful situation.
So breaking into the section number two, we're gonna discuss about personal connections. I'm gonna throw a couple of questions, very simple ones, or maybe not. But Sergio, how are you feeling so far?
I'm feeling good. I'm still happy to be here. This is my first interview as well. So your first interview on your podcast, my first time being interviewed. So it's great.
He said, "I'm still happy to be here."
Still
So
happy.
I'm hoping that he's gonna still be happy until the end of the interview.
I'm sure I will.
Let's make it possible. So yeah, I'm very curious about like the parallels between sales and SWAT operations. Like, do you think that are there aspects of your SWAT training that you find parallels between or with sales skills such as relationship building or, for instance, managing unpredictable situations? Like, do you see any parallelism, like any coincidence between both worlds?
Yeah, absolutely. In both actually, in relationship building, and managing unpredictable situations, both of those are very pertinent. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Relationship building is huge, both important within my team and with the public. Um, with your team, you want your team to trust you, and you as a new guy, and I'm still relatively new, less than 2 years as a SWAT officer. February will be 2 years. You're proving yourself just like any person that's new coming into a situation. Um, and it's important because the critical incidents you go to, the training you do together, the events that you go to, right? Um, you're always together. You need to know that the person next to you has your back, and they need to know that you have their back as well. With the community, policing in general, it's very important the trust between the community and the police. The police can't do everything on their own. It's very important to have those community connections, that trust, right? And that makes a safer community, I believe. As far as the managing unpredictable situations, yeah, the SWAT officer, you have to be able to think on the fly. There's a lot of planning that goes into what you're going to do in a given situation. There's a lot of preparation and training. But the situation that you're presented with and how it changes dictates how you're going to react. You need to be ready to react in a moment's notice to that change, right? So I think that's big between sales, possibly too. If you're going to sell somebody something, you can't always 100% predict the other person that you're speaking to. You have to be able to change your approach, change your language, and be prepared in a moment's notice to that change.
That's very impressive, because actually, like as I briefed you earlier, like in the very first episode, actually the episode number 0, where I was presenting this podcast, I shared this bold statement where I was saying that everyone sells at some point in their life,
Yeah.
either if they are into sales or they are just out of sales. Everyone has to get along with sales at some point, like from a professional or personal point of view. And that's very cool hearing the similarities between sales and how the operations in the SWAT department works.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Very cool. So once we've talked about parallels between sales and operations, let's go into challenges, like either professional or personal challenges. And my question is, like, can you share a moment when you face a significant challenge and applied sales skills to overcome it, if there's any?
Yeah, I can. So I won't go into specifics, like specific details of any given situation, just for the privacy of everyone involved.
Of course, I
Yeah.
understand. Yeah.
But there have been situations in general that my team responds to, and me being part of that team responding with them. Um, there's instances where we have to convince an individual or individuals that there was an alternative to possibly, barricading themselves or harming themselves or harming someone else. Um, so we had to convince them that there's a better option if they would allow us to help them. We had to convince them that we're there to help them. So that goes with the relationship building and from the question before as well.
We mentioned before,
You may not know the person when you get there, but right away, when you get there and you're speaking with them, you have to develop some rapport. You have to develop trust with them, because to them, you're also a stranger. We have to remember that. We're going there and they're a stranger to us, but we're a stranger to them. So building that relationship and being able to convince them that there's a better alternative than what they're currently doing that brought us there. I would parallel that to sales, actually.
It does.
Yeah, I would really parallel that to sales. I've never thought about it that way before, but yeah, I'd say definitely.
Thank you for sharing. So breaking into the third section, I know that SWAT has a big responsibility when it comes to community. I know that, especially in the States, like they're pointed out by society and you need to be there for them, because at the end of the day, they are your end goal, despite any event, any friction that may happen from time to time. And my question, or this section, is all about, like, how do you sell yourself as the protector that at the end of the day you are to the community, in order to showcase which is your labor for the community, why you are there for them, and in order to get along with them and shorten the distances that maybe from time to time might feel wider. So my main question here, Sergio, for you is, how do you build and maintain relationships with the community, and how does this relate to the sales approach of building trust?
So I'd say, yeah, there's a correlation there of building trust in my profession and maybe someone working in sales specifically building trust, right, with people that they're speaking with and that they're serving. Um, so the biggest way is your day to day actions and interactions. Um, so when we're working, right, day to day SWAT operations, we drive around a vehicle around the city, right? We're waiting for a possible SWAT incident to happen. However, we're very visible. We're visible. We're driving around. People see us, that we're present, right? That we're not some person that shows up out of nowhere. So we're very visible, very present, um, and we have interactions with the community, basic interactions that might parallel sales, where you're having basic conversations with people. It's not always like you need to sell them something right away in that instance, in that moment, but more of just having conversations, staying open, building, again, as I mentioned earlier, a rapport, a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're always, we try our utmost best to be respectful, to be kind, um, even if you're tired. Even if you're tired or you're having a bad day, you're worn out, when somebody in the community comes up to you, talks with you, asks you questions, you are open with them, you talk with them, you have a smile on your face, because at the end of the day, you're there to serve them. That's the reason for your existence, for your profession, right? Um, so, on top of that, we do more specific events, right? I don't know if in the sales world you do specific events to outreach to possible customers or possible people that you're trying to build relationships with. So in SWAT, we do those kind of events. We'll, for instance, we had a trick or treat event recently,
Mm-hmm.
right? This
Cool.
October just passed, right?
Yep.
So we brought our vehicle there. We had a lot of our equipment. We put it on a chair and kind of staged it so they could see the vest, the helmet, the bullet resistant shields that we use. And we're handing out candy to families that came there with their little children, walking around, um, asking us questions. They want to take pictures with us. We took pictures with them. We let them, hold the shield to see how heavy it was, um, hold the vest to see how heavy it was. So the gist of it is basic interactions day to day with your community and with your audience, the people that you're serving, as well as special events where you really showcase a little insider, if you will, information on your equipment, what you're there for. They could ask you questions more personally, right?
Mm-hmm.
Specific days just for that.
So it sounds to me like more like building awareness, being present, and being there actually at the end of the day for your customers,
Yeah,
right? Like they're the reason why you are protecting the city, why you're protecting the society. And it's quite close to sales, because at the end of the day, like transactional sales are dead. They're not there anymore. Like you are not something to someone just for the transaction. You are building awareness. You are really, like being present for them in order to support them, to build their trust. And I think it keeps quite close similarities to the sales approach, like being present in fairs, like really building your ecosystem in order to be there for the ones who need you. So super interesting. Thank you
yeah,
for sharing.
yeah, absolutely. I agree. Your presence is key. Being there is key.
So the next question, and it's as well related to community engagement, which is what this third section is all about, is how does your unit contribute to education, prevention in the community? and how might this compare to the idea of selling safety and trust?
Well, as I mentioned before, we do like the events, like I mentioned above, specifically for spreading the awareness that we're there, what equipment we have, what do we use um, to protect them if they do need it. Right? We open ourselves and we're available to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, as well as we're at a lot of events, a lot of concerts. So a lot of the times people are attending events, sports events, concerts,
Mm-hmm.
and they see us there. They see that we're there and that we're ready, and I like to think and I hope that they feel comfortable knowing that we're there ready to serve them. That might parallel sales where if somebody's looking to purchase something, they're not looking around with questions and there's no one there to help them. you
Indeed.
know um, Similar as a SWAT officer, if they're looking around and they're wondering, like, a question in their head pops up, like, man, what if this happens? They can look over and they see us standing there, like, okay, if something bad happens, that person right there, that SWAT officer, that police officer's, he's there to help me,
They
so I'm
find
okay.
they find the solution instantly, basically.
Yeah, exactly. um so that visibility is key, like I mentioned before already. In my opinion, it helps build a lot of trust, which is the most important thing. um it shows that we're not some random force that appears out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
The community can come up to us, they can ask us questions, they can ask us for help if they need any help, whether it's a SWAT job or not. Recently, I helped somebody with my teammate. We were driving, we saw somebody's vehicle stuck in the middle of the road. So, we got
Oh, wow.
out and we helped him push his vehicle out of the middle of the road into a gas station. Um, that's also key. Never feeling that you're, I know we're talking about education and prevention, but a small caveat on the side, never feeling like you're above a certain job.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm a SWAT officer, we wear a different uniform. When somebody needs help, they feel comfortable coming up to us and asking us for anything, even pushing their car out the middle of the road. Um, and to me, that speaks volumes of trust between the community and us.
I think that at the end of the day, that's what trust is all about, right? Like showing that you are a human being or under that uniform, and that's how trust bridges are built. So very cool. Just a random question, like which has been the weirdest question that you have ever get from these, activities to get close to the community? Like, have you get any random or unexpected question from any of the citizens?
Off the top of my head right here, I can't think of anything super weird, as we would call it, but random questions all the time. How'd you get to where you're doing? Can you help me get my car out the road? Like I just mentioned. Can you take a picture with our kids in front of the equipment?
Awesome.
So I wouldn't call it weird, but um, a lot of random things with the community, and I like the randomness. That randomness means that the community, that is, they feel comfortable coming up to us and asking us for help, asking us to take pictures, and asking us to show them our equipment and stuff. And to me, that means that we're doing our job right, that we're not some foreign entity that they are looking at from a distance and very weary of. They're very trusting of us.
Mhm.
They feel comfortable no matter what we're wearing to come up to us and say, hey, can you help me with this? Can you do this for me? I know maybe you're wearing something that may to some look intimidating, but I trust you. I can talk with you and ask you random questions.
Totally, 100% agree.
Yeah.
All right, so breaking into the section 4, last section, which gonna be all about unusual questions. Sergio, how are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm still happy to be here. I'm still enjoying the
Awesome.
interview.
Happy to hear that.
Yes.
This is gonna be like a short section. I hope that we have some fun because this section gonna consist on 3 different questions One will be all about personal reflection, and a couple of one unusual question and one funny question. So
Perfect.
let's keep it simple. Let's go for the first one, which is personal reflection. My question is, in your experience, how was your perspective on negotiation and persuasion evolve? Like from 0 to 1, when you got started, when you broke into this career?
So, it's a great question. How has my perspective on negotiation and persuasion evolved? Um, so, through experience, I've seen how negotiations um, and us as a SWAT team have been able to de escalate some very critical situations. Um, so, to start with, having no experience without seeing the process firsthand, many people, including myself, you may have thought or you may think, it's kind of impossible from someone to go from level 100, the worst day of their life, ready to do something possibly terrible to themselves or someone else, go all the way down with only words and persuasion, negotiation, and showing that we're there and that we care to level 1. Um, you might think like, there's no way that somebody that's ready to do something that may be unthinkable
Mm-hmm.
can come all the way down to level 1 and come peacefully to us so that we can help them.
That's crazy, right? Like de-escalating like extreme situations to a bottom line where everything goes smooth
Yeah,
on your side.
yeah, it's exactly right. But through my experience, I've seen it done.
Wow.
It's possible and it does happen. Um, if it's taught me anything, it's taught me that patience is key.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't force a situation um, at the pace you want it to go all the time. I give lots of credit, that being said, to um, not only the teammates that I have with a lot more experience than I do, but also a lot of credit to the negotiators that we work very closely with.
Mm-hmm.
They're very good at what they do. And without seeing it firsthand, you might think it impossible, but it is possible. Uh, given the situation, depending the situation, it is possible to talk someone from level 100 all the way down to 1, because I've seen it. I've seen it done. I've seen it happen.
Wow. That's impressive. That's impressive. Like this sales book that I was mentioning, like never split the difference from police boss and FBI officer. He shares tactics and techniques. One of them is mirroring. When you're facing someone, you mirror the sentences, you mirror every single word that
Yeah.
you're hearing in order to build trust.
Yeah, it shows your understanding. It shows you're not only just hearing it and like listening,
Mm-hmm.
but like you're understanding what they're saying. Yeah, of
Thanks for sharing.
course.
I would say like this was the toughest question in this section. Let's go any
A
questions.
funny question. All right.
Next question is I've named it like unusual question.
All right.
You'll tell me if it's unusual or not. But if you had to sell the SWAT profession to someone who doesn't fully understand it, like I'm into sales, you know it. From time to time, people ask, how do you spend your days? How do you schedule your activities? Like what's, like all in all your profession? Like how would you sell the SWAT profession and what arguments would you use for that?
Well, that is a tough question. So I would sell the SWAT profession by saying maybe two different aspects. Is this somebody that wants to be in the SWAT team, or is this somebody that wants to possibly have a SWAT team available to them?
Any of them. It will be more like an open question. Just take it as you feel.
Yeah, I like that. So I'll take it as selling the SWAT profession to somebody that may be thinking about being a SWAT officer. I would say first that people want a challenge, right? In general, before even speaking on it, people I think generally do like a challenge in their professional lives, something to aspire to. Um, so if I was selling, I'd say the SWAT profession is a very noble profession. It's a very selfless profession. Um, if you want to be one of the best trained in the police department, as far as tactics go, um, if you want to respond to critical incidents and face new challenges, then SWAT's a place for you. If you're a very team oriented person, somebody that can be counted on, but also you can have a full team of people that you can count on as well, then SWAT's a place for you. I would say that um, being a SWAT officer is an honor because you get to serve your community at their time of need, when it's a situation that most people are overwhelmed with. You're the calm and the peace that they look towards to help them. And if taking on that challenge sounds like something that you would want to do, if you want to be part of a family and be a guardian of your community and a pillar of strength and also friendship even to your community, then this profession is definitely one that you should think about joining.
Let's jump to the last question,
Let's do it.
which I've named as the random or funny question, something not really related with the previous talks we have had during this podcast, but I don't have a big ones, but some small allergies. So my question is like, imagine you have to sell watermelons in a place where everyone is allergic to this fruit. How would you, Sergio, do it?
Well, that's a tough one.
I know.
So somebody that has some food allergies, that'd be tough to sell something that you're allergic to. Um, I would say that myself, I have a dog. So I would say if I'd sell something that someone was allergic to, you can possibly sell it to them as food for their pets.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they can't consume it themselves, but if they want to avoid um, pollution or the smell of a bunch of rotting watermelon all over the place, maybe it keeps growing. Instead of being wasteful, maybe you would sell it to them for their pets, to sustain their pets. And that would both eliminate rotting fruit and maybe some pollution around their community, and it also serve a purpose of feeding their best friend.
That's a very smart answer. I was not expecting that one. So great. I would say that you have overpassed that funny question. It's at the end of the day, it's a little bit tricky one, but thank you for the answer. So Sergio, one more time, congratulations! You are the first interviewed in this podcast. Thank you so much for your braveness to be here. I think that it has been like an amazing time recording this podcast, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I am still happy to be here all the way to the end of this interview.
Cool. Y hasta aquí esta primera entrevista en la que a través de 4 secciones muy contrastadas hemos podido conocer un poquito más la carrera profesional de un SWAT Officer, desde sus primeros tiempos vendiendo barbacoas en un retailer americano hasta la importancia del entrenamiento a la hora de gestionar situaciones extremas de alto riesgo en cuanto a temas de negociación y de persuasión. También la importancia, ¿no?, de la confianza, de construir relaciones y confianza tanto con tus compañeros como en este caso con la sociedad. En este caso, tanto las fuerzas especiales como la policía en Estados Unidos están bajo el punto de mira en muchos de los estados, por lo que estar activo y presentes para la sociedad y para la comunidad es un punto crucial para que ellos puedan desarrollar su principal misión, que es la de proteger y salvaguardar el bienestar de todos. Y por último, pues hemos hecho algunas preguntas un poco inusuales que yo creo que han podido marcar la guinda del pastel y de esta primera entrevista. Muchas gracias una vez más por estar ahí escuchando y nos vemos en el próximo capítulo de Se Vende Humo.